You should have exercise 0 done and everything you need installed so you can run Python. If not, make sure that you go back through exercise 0 for your operating system, Windows, Linux, or OS X, and get it all set up and ready to go. I'm now going to show you exercise 1. I'm going to show you exercise 1 on OS X. It actually doesn't matter which operating system you see me use this with. They all are pretty much the same. All I'm going to use is a text editor, which you see on the right, the code, which you see on the left, and your code may look slightly different because of fonts or things. I'm using the web page. You might have the PDF, you might be using a reader. All that matters, though, is the text you're typing in, not necessarily the fonts. And you should have your terminal. My terminal here is the terminal that you have on Mac OS X. Terminal on Windows would actually be called PowerShell. And on Linux, there's various terminals galore. But they're all pretty much the same. I have my Python command. I have my code. And I have my text editor. Now, to do exercise 1, what you're going to want to do is create a new file. And this new file is going to have this code here. Now, if the font is too small for you to see, that's fine. Just go follow along with the web page or the PDF or whatever you're reading. And you're going to have to type it out of the text that you're reading. One thing to keep in mind with the videos in this course is that they're not meant to actually teach you the content. Instead, they're meant to give you a short lecture, an introduction to the content, and then you're supposed to go read the book. A fundamental thing about programming is reading and writing and analyzing text. Learning to code actually improves your analytic learning skills and your ability to process and understand the written word. But we'll start you with baby steps, a very tiny, simple script to type in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type the code that you see on the left into my text editor on the right. Very simple. Watch me do it. I will do it very fast. As you can see, I can type code fairly quickly, but even though I type it fast, and even though I wrote the book, and even though I've been programming for many, many years, I still make mistakes while I type, and I just use the back button to fix them. Now, I will save this file as a file named ex1.py. And as you can see, I have a few directories here. This is just my typical work environment. And there you go. You can see up at the top in my particular editor, where the cursor currently is, that I have a path. I've created a course/lpthw. If you're unfamiliar with creating directories and using the command line to do that, please refer to the appendix and go through the command line crash course. It's a very useful additional thing for you to do if you don't know the command line. Additionally, the command line is actually a small programming language, so it's a good first step if you've done no programming at all and you're completely lost with what you're seeing here. Now, I have my ex1.py, and I've saved it, and you notice all of a sudden my text changed to be colored. I've got blue for print and pinks and things for strings and stuff. And this helps you sort of find errors. For the most part, you can ignore it. You can actually type all this code in black and white, but programmers like to use color for their code. Kind of helps change up the monotony and helps them see specific information. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to run this file. Switch back to terminal. I type Python. Python is how you run Python scripts like ex1.py. I type the name of the file, ex1.py, and I hit enter. Now it runs and it prints out those things that it should print out. Then I can compare that in the what you should see section. So I can go and look and compare and see if everything was the same and fix any errors I run into. The next thing to look at is what happens if you make a mistake in your Python script. Let's say I accidentally do this. I change that character to that character. Right now you might not know why this is an error. It's okay, you'll learn about this more. But this is going to cause an error in the script. So if I save it, then flip back, and then run it again. Incidentally, I don't need to do this. I can actually just use the up arrow. All I did is just hit up arrow on my keyboard, and that previous command comes back. Now when I run it this time, I get an error. It's sort of a weird error. Programmers are very bad at giving useful errors. They give very strange error messages. What I have here is syntax error. EOL means end of line while scanning string literal. So what this means is it hit the end of the line and expected some other character. So how you solve this is go look at my code I have and go get your code. Now, Python is telling you it's line 7. See the line 7 there? So you come back and you look at that last line. I know it's 7 because it's down here. And then I compare it to the code. So let me look at the code real quick. And I look and I see, single character, and I have a double. Save it, then flip back and run it. If it doesn't look like that line is the problem, then start going backwards from that error. So maybe it's not that one, maybe it's this one, or this one, or this one. But I know that it has to be before this line or that line. So it can be line 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And start rolling backwards and comparing every character that I've got in mind to yours. Eventually you'll find the error. Once you've done this, you'll then want to go to the study drills. The study drills are extra things that you should do in order to sort of understand or play with this exercise. This is a common thing throughout the entire book. You should do as many of them as you can and keep track of the ones that you haven't done or can't figure out. The idea with the study drills is that you're supposed to struggle with them and sort of become frustrated and try to fix them or solve them. All right. That concludes exercise 1. You can now move on to exercise 2 after you're done with the study drills and you've solved this particular exercise. Again, remember, go back and read the book to actually learn from this exercise. The video is just a quick lecture to teach you about the topic. It's not actually what you should learn from. See you in exercise 2.